The deeper they traveled, the stronger the energy became. The walls of the labyrinth glowed softly in response to their presence, casting dancing patterns of light across the floor. Ryan felt the pulse in his chest, subtle yet insistent, as if the labyrinth itself were alive. Araya walked beside him, her calm gaze reflecting the same sense of awe he felt. "We are close," she said softly. "The relic waits at the heart of the labyrinth. It has not awakened for centuries." Ryan glanced at her. "What happens when it awakens?" Araya's lips curved into a faint smile. "It will reveal knowledge. It will reveal connection. And it will recognize those worthy of carrying it forward." The chamber they approached was unlike anything they had seen before. The walls opened into a vast dome high above, where no ceiling could be seen. Floating in the center, suspended in a gentle hum, was a radiant sphere. Its surface shimmered with colors Ryan could not name, swirling patterns of energy flowing like liquid light. Around it floated several crystalline orbs, rotating slowly, each projecting faint holograms of stars. Planets and civilizations long gone. Ryan's heart raced. "Is this it?" Araya nodded. "The relic of unity. It responds only when beings of balance approach. Alone, it remains silent. Together, it awakens." They stepped closer, the floor beneath them glowing softly in response to their weight. Ryan reached out instinctively, his fingers brushing the edge of the sphere. A surge of energy ran through him, but it did not burn. Instead, it filled him with clarity, warmth, and a deep sense of connection. He felt the labyrinth watching, sensing, evaluating. Araya reached out simultaneously, placing her hand gently over his. The moment their hands met, the sphere reacted fully. Light exploded in the chamber, filling the air with a warm radiance. The holographic projections around them intensified, showing vivid images of the past, a galaxy full of ancient civilizations. Starships moving in harmony, alliances forming and evolving, and two species working together to build peace and knowledge. Ryan stepped back slightly, amazed. "It's showing us history." Araya's eyes glimmered. "Yes, it shows what the ancient builders envisioned. They foresaw a future where two young species would rise together, balancing each other. One with wisdom and patience, the other with courage and creativity. Your species, humanity, is the second." Ryan felt a mixture of pride and humility. Humanity had always fought to survive, to reach for the stars, to prove themselves capable. And now, the relic recognized them not just as explorers, but as partners in a legacy written long before humans had ever left Earth. The sphere's light shifted, and Ryan realized it was scanning them, recording their presence, their thoughts, their courage. A voice, calm and ethereal, resonated in his mind. Two species together, one path forward. Courage and wisdom united. Guardians awaken. Knowledge shared. Destiny fulfilled, Ryan whispered, almost to himself. "We're part of this?" Raya nodded, her eyes reflecting the radiant energy. "Yes, Commander. This is why we met. This is why your people were chosen. Together, we can awaken the full potential of the galaxy." The sphere began to project a new image-map of stars, showing locations where relics, guardians, and knowledge of the ancient species were hidden. Lines of light-connected worlds across the galaxy, forming pathways of energy and influence. Ryan realized that the relic was not just an artifact. It was a guide to uniting civilizations, to sharing knowledge, and to building a future where understanding outweighed conflict. "This is incredible," Ryan murmured. "With this, humanity can reach beyond anything we imagined." Raya smiled softly. "And with humans, my people will learn courage we have only observed from afar. Together, we become more than either species alone." The energy of the sphere surged, enveloping both Ryan and Araya in a gentle radiance. They felt their minds connect in a shared understanding, a deep resonance of trust, curiosity, and determination. The relic responded to unity, recognizing that these two species could cooperate, respect, and protect what had been entrusted to them. Suddenly, The chamber's floor shifted, revealing a stairway leading further down. The energy of the sphere guided them toward it, illuminating the path. Ryan glanced at Araya. "Is there more?" She nodded. "The final test. Not of strength, but of harmony. The relic ensures that those who leave here together can carry its knowledge responsibly." The stairway led them to a smaller chamber, simple yet elegant, with walls that seemed to absorb light and reflect it back as a calm glow. In the center stood a pedestal with a metallic interface, etched with ancient symbols. Ryan approached, feeling the familiar pulse of energy beneath his feet. Araya stepped beside him. The relic awaits a shared touch. Only together can it reveal its full potential. Ryan placed his hand on the interface. Araya mirrored him. The energy surged again, stronger than before, and holographic images projected into the air, scenes of galaxies united, species learning from one another, and humans standing alongside the Lutharia's equals. The relic's energy flowed through them, filling Ryan with visions of what the future could be if courage and wisdom guided civilization. The images shifted, showing the potential dangers as well misuse of knowledge, greed, and conflict, but also the power of collaboration and understanding. Ryan realized that this relic was more than a tool. It was a responsibility. Humanity had been given a chance, and it depended on them to honor it. Araya's voice broke his thoughts. "Do you understand, Commander?" Ryan nodded firmly. "Yes. This is a gift, but also a promise. Humanity will rise, but we must do it wisely, together." The relic responded to his words, the light around them settling into a calm, steady glow. Its energy flowed into both of them, embedding knowledge, guidance, and a sense of purpose. The chamber hummed with a serene harmony, as if the relic itself approved of their choice. Ryan and Araya stepped back, hands still lightly touching the interface. The chamber's energy slowly faded to a soft glow, the holograms disappearing, leaving only the relic suspended in quiet brilliance. They had succeeded. Araya turned to Ryan, her expression serene but filled with respect. "The relic has accepted us. Humanity has been recognized. My people will learn from your courage, and you will guide them in ways only humans can." Ryan felt the weight and honor of her words. He had always believed that humanity could achieve greatness, but now it was official. Their species had been chosen to join the greater galaxy, not through conquest, but through courage, creativity, and integrity. He looked around the chamber, then back at Araya. "We'll protect it. We'll honor it. And we'll make sure humans live up to what this relic believes we can be." Araya smiled, a faint warmth in her alien eyes. "That is all the ancient builders could hope for." They exited the chamber, ascending the stairway back to the surface. The labyrinth's light dimmed gradually behind them, as if closing temporarily to rest, waiting for those who would follow. Outside, the moon was quiet, the crater glowing softly under the distant star. Ryan turned to Araya, feeling a sense of excitement and determination. This is just the beginning, isn't it?" Araya nodded. "The journey has only started. Together, humans and the Luthari will explore, learn, and grow. The galaxy will see what unity can achieve." Ryan felt a thrill in his chest. Humans had always reached for the stars, driven by curiosity, courage, and the desire to understand the unknown. Now, with allies like Araya and her people, the potential was limitless. He glanced back at his team, who were preparing the hover vehicles for the return journey. Their faces reflected awe, pride, and determination. Humanity had stepped into a larger story, one written among the stars. Guided by ancient wisdom and human courage, as the sun's rays struck the crater, the relic's influence lingered, a quiet pulse of energy resonating across the moon. Ryan knew that this moment would be remembered in human history as the day their species was recognized, not by force, but by the strength of character, curiosity, and unity. Araya looked at the stars above, her voice soft but firm. "We will travel together, learn together, and rise together." Ryan smiled, feeling the weight of destiny settle comfortably on his shoulders. Humanity had proven itself worthy. The galaxy awaited, And for the first time, Ryan truly understood that humans could stand proud among the stars, not as conquerors, but as explorers, partners, and creators of a new future. The two species looked upward, side by side, ready to step into a new chapter. Above them, the silent moon of Veritasenin shimmered faintly, a witness to the birth of unity and the rise of humanity, and with that, a new era began. The stars stretched endlessly across the black sky, glittering like tiny jewels scattered by some careless hand. Captain Eric Voss, a human medic and explorer, floated in the observation deck of his ship, the Aurora Pathfinder. He had traveled across countless systems, studied strange diseases, and helped many worlds, but nothing could have prepared him for the message that blinked urgently on his console. It was unlike anything he had ever seen before. A holographic image shimmered into life, depicting a creature he could hardly comprehend. Its skin shimmered with soft gold, and its eyes, large and luminous, glimmered with desperation. The voice that came from the message was melodic, almost musical, but tinged with fear.
"Oh, my baby won't wake up."
"Please help her, human." Eric's heart quickened. The plea was raw, urgent, and impossible to ignore. His fingers moved quickly over the controls, zooming in on the signal's origin. It was coming from a planet in the Lyran Expanse, world uncharted by human explorers. The planet glowed faintly in the starfield, surface a mosaic of swirling forests and iridescent lakes. Without hesitation, Arik set a course. "Hang on, little one," he muttered. "We're coming." Hours later, the Aurora Pathfinder pierced the upper atmosphere of the alien world. The sight that greeted him was both beautiful and strange. Towering trees with translucent leaves stretched toward the sky, their branches pulsing with light like living veins. Rivers of liquid crystal wound through glowing valleys. Wisps of bioluminescent spores drifted gently in the air, casting the landscape in a surreal, dreamlike glow. Eric landed in a clearing near a small settlement, strange but clearly alive with activity. Alien structures, organic and flowing, seemed to grow out of the ground like extensions of the planet itself. The doors opened silently, and he was greeted by the mother who had sent the message. Her name was Lyra. Her form was delicate, almost fragile, yet she radiated strength and intelligence. Her hands trembled as she led him to her home, where a small cradle floated above the ground. Inside, a tiny being lay motionless. Its skin was pearlescent, and its eyes were closed. Yet the gentle rise and fall of its chest was faint, irregular, and worrying. "She hasn't moved for hours," Lyra whispered, her voice trembling. "Please, you are human. You can help her, can't you?" Arik knelt beside the cradle, examining the baby carefully. Her physiology was unlike anything human, but there were faint signs of life, a heartbeat weak and irregular, shallow breathing, tiny flickers of energy beneath her skin. Eric's mind raced. Standard human medical procedures would not work here. They could even harm her. He needed to understand the connection between the baby and the planet. He noticed that her tiny body seemed to pulse in rhythm with the glowing spores drifting outside. It was as if the planet itself was part of her life force. He looked up at Lyra, who nodded, sensing his understanding. "Yes," she said softly. "She is tied to the energy of our world. If it falters, she falters." Arik set down his equipment carefully, aware that even a slight misstep could be dangerous. He extended a scanning device over the baby, watching the readouts flicker. The energy readings were unstable, spiking and dipping as the floating spores drifted past the window. It was unlike anything human science had catalogued. "This is delicate," Arik said. "I can help her, but I need to understand how she interacts with this energy. I need your help, too." Lyra nodded eagerly, her luminous eyes shining with hope. She placed her hand near the cradle, and the air shimmered slightly in response. "I can feel the pulse," she said. "It is weak, but it is there. She wants to wake, but she cannot alone." Arik studied the baby closely, his human instincts blending with careful observation. He noticed tiny movements beneath her skin, almost imperceptible, like a ripple across water. He realized that her body was trying to synchronize with the planet's energy, but the connection was unstable. "We will need to stabilize her," Arik said. "I have equipment, but I may have to adjust it in ways that have never been done before. It will be risky, but she can survive if we work together." Lyra's hand touched his arm gently. "I trust you," she whispered. "Please, save her." Arik smiled faintly, despite the tension. "Let's begin." He unpacked his tools, adapting his human medical devices to the alien biology. His scans revealed a network of energy channels running through the baby, delicate and intricate, like threads of light. He realized that any attempt to intervene required precision and empathy. The baby would respond not just to science, but to care, understanding, calm energy. As Arik worked, Lyra stayed close, singing soft melodic tones. Her voice harmonized with the baby's faint pulses, strengthening them just slightly. Arik marveled at the connection. This was something no human medicine alone could achieve. It was cooperation, trust, and shared intent between two species. Hours passed, and the sun of the alien world began to set. The glowing spores outside thickened, drifting through the open windows like a living curtain. Arik noticed the baby's pulses flickering in rhythm with the rising spores. He adjusted his device, carefully calibrating the energy flow to match the planet's rhythm. A sudden jolt ran through the cradle. The baby stirred slightly, but then sank back. Arik's heart pounded. "It's unstable," he muttered. "We need to synchronize perfectly with the planet's energy." Lyra placed both hands near the cradle now, her voice rising in a soft song, her tone steady and calm. Arik focused, feeling her intent in the baby's fragile life force. Slowly, he adjusted his instruments, letting the energy flow through him, through the baby, and back into the planet's pulse. The baby's chest began to rise more evenly, faint but steady. A tiny whimper escaped her lips, and Lyra gasped with relief. "She is waking." Arik smiled, but he did not relax. He knew this was only the beginning. The baby's life depended not only on medical skill, but also on understanding this alien world's energy. Any disruption could undo their progress. "Keep her calm," Arik said to Lyra. "She needs our focus. One wrong step, and the connection could break." Lyra nodded, her voice a gentle hum, maintaining a rhythm that mirrored the planet itself. Slowly, carefully, Arik continued his work, observing the faint streams of energy that coursed through the baby. He realized that this world was alive in a way humans had only imagined in legends, a network of energy. Life and consciousness, all intertwined. Hours melted into night, the glowing spores illuminating the room like 1,000 tiny stars. The baby's breathing became steady, and her tiny limbs twitched with awareness. Lyra's tears fell softly, a mixture of joy and relief. "She is waking," Lyra whispered, her voice trembling. Arik allowed himself a small smile. "She's strong. She wants to live. And so do you, both of you." For the first time since he arrived, he felt the deep truth of HFY not in weapons, not in conquest, but in human courage, intelligence, and empathy. Here, on this distant world, humanity's ability to understand and care made a real difference. Lyra held her baby close, murmuring words Arik could not understand, but their meaning was clear. The fragile life before them had survived the night thanks to cooperation, trust, and the determination to protect life, no matter how alien it might be. But Arik knew this was only the beginning. The planet's energy was volatile, unpredictable, and mysterious. To ensure the baby's survival, he would have to explore, learn, and adapt in ways he had never imagined. And yet he felt a spark of hope, the kind that only came when humans reached beyond themselves and touched the unknown with compassion. Outside, the alien night glowed softly. The stars stretched endlessly, indifferent yet beautiful. Within a small cradle, a tiny life pulsed gently, and humanity, in one human heart, had made a difference. And in the quiet, Lyra whispered, "Thank you, human. You have given her a chance." Arik only nodded, already thinking of the challenges ahead. For the life of the baby and for the future of understanding between their worlds, The real work had only just begun.
Princess Ilara sat alone in the grand hall of Aurelia, the floating city that had once shone like a jewel above the scarred surface of the planet below. Now it was silent. The bright sunlight that streamed through the crystal windows only reminded her of what she had lost. Her people were gone, scattered or captured by the invading Zytrons. Her family, her friends, everyone she had loved, vanished in the chaos. The city's great machines hummed softly, keeping the air clean and the lights bright, but they could not comfort her. Ilara's fingers traced the patterns carved into the marble floor. Each line, each curve was a memory of better times, of festivals and laughter, of dancing under the twin suns. But now it all felt hollow. The gardens in the palace courtyard were filled with artificial sunlight, but the flowers did not smell like they once had. The fountains still flowed with crystal water, but the sound was empty without the laughter of children. She rose and walked to the balcony, her gown flowing like water behind her. Below, the city's platforms stretched outward, connected by silver bridges. The wind carried the faint hum of the city's engines, but nothing else moved. Even the birds that had once nested here were gone. Her heart felt heavy, like a stone pressing against her chest. "Ilara," she whispered, her voice trembling. No answer came, only the echo bouncing back at her from the walls. She raised her hand as if to reach out, to touch something living, but there was nothing. The palace was her cage now, and her crown a weight she no longer wished to carry. She moved from room to room, each filled with memories she could not escape. Holograms of her ancestors floated in their golden frames, their faces kind but distant. "You are the last of your line," one of them said in the soft, melodic voice of memory. "The city depends on you." Ilara wanted to scream at them, to throw the golden images to the ground. How could she protect anything when even her own strength seemed gone? Night fell over Aurelia, though night here was a gentle dimming of the artificial lights. Ilara sat on the edge of her bed, staring at the empty streets below. She had tried everything. She had sent messages, broadcast calls, even activated the city's emergency signals. Nothing. The Zytrons had broken every connection, and hope had begun to fade like the dying sun on a horizon she would never see again. A sound, faint and almost impossible to hear, came from the palace communication system. A voice, a human voice. "Ilara, can you hear me?" Her heart stopped. She froze. The voice was real, trembling slightly but alive. It was not a recording, not another hologram. It was a voice from someone who existed outside her silent prison. Who is this?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "My name is Elias Ward. I am human." "I am not from here," the voice said. "I came through the orbit." "I can help you." Ilara's mind raced. Humans from other worlds? She had heard tales, stories of humans who traveled between the stars, brave and stubborn, clever in ways no other species could match. But why would one come here, to this ruined city, to a princess who had lost everything? "Why would you help me?" she asked, suspicion and hope fighting in her chest. "I know what you've lost," Elias said. "I know what they did to Aurelia, but I also know that no one survives by giving up. If you trust me, I can save you and your city." Ilara's breath caught. Trust. She had not trusted anyone in months. But something in the voice, the calm determination, the warmth behind the words, made her pulse quicken. Could it be real? Could someone actually come to save her? I don't know if I can," she said, tears forming at the edges of her eyes. "Everything is lost, everything." "Nothing is lost as long as you are still alive," Elias said softly. "And you are strong, princess. Stronger than anyone who has fallen before you. I've seen humans survive things that would break others, and I believe you can too." For the first time in what felt like forever, Ilara felt a spark of something she thought had died inside her. Hope. She leaned back against the marble wall, closing her eyes. "Tell me," she said finally. "Tell me who you are and how you found me." "I was exploring near your orbit when my ship was damaged," Elias explained. "I tried to contact other humans, but my signals were weak. Then I found your city's old communication network. You were silent but alive. I thought, maybe you could help me too." Ilara opened her eyes, staring at the ceiling, thinking of what it meant. Humans traveling from another world, reaching out to her in her time of despair. She wanted to believe him, to hold on to the hope he offered. But she could not ignore the fear, the possibility that this was a trick, a trap by the Zytrons themselves. "Why should I trust you?" she asked. "Because I have nothing to gain but to help." Elias said, "and because I've seen what humans can do when they refuse to give up. You may not believe it yet, but you can survive this, Princess. I can help you." Silence hung in the air as Alara considered his words. She thought of the empty halls, the silent gardens, the echoes of her own voice bouncing back at her without reply. She thought of the Zytrons, ruthless and unyielding, and how long she had waited alone for anyone to come. And now, here was a voice, a living human voice offering a chance. "We'll try," she said at last. "Good," Elias said. "I'll guide you. Together we can find a way out of this silence." Alara rose, her heart trembling but alive. She walked to the palace controls, using her knowledge of Aurelia's systems to connect to the city's emergency platforms. Elias guided her, his voice calm, instructing her where to focus her attention. She felt a flicker of the old determination returning. For the first time in months, she felt like the princess she had once been, the leader who refused to surrender. The night stretched on as they worked together. Alara learned to navigate the city's automated defenses, to access hidden chambers, and to send signals that could not be traced by the Zytrons. All the while, Elias spoke to her, telling stories of human courage, of explorers who had faced impossible odds and survived. She listened, mesmerized, feeling her despair slowly transform into resolve. By the time the artificial dawn came, casting a pale golden light across Aurelia's platforms, Alara was no longer the same. She still grieved for what she had lost, but she was ready to act, to move, to fight, not just for herself but for her city. "Alara?" Elias's voice came through the system, steady and patient. "Yes," she said, her voice firm. "I am ready." "Good," he said. "Then we begin. The city is quiet now, but we will wake it. Together we will make sure the Zytrons regret coming here." A smile, small but real, touched Alara's lips. For the first time in months, the silence of Aurelia was broken. Not by machines, not by echoes, but by the sound of a human voice. And in that voice she found something she thought she had lost forever: hope. She looked out over the empty city, feeling the weight of her crown and the strength of her spirit. The princess who had waited in despair was ready to rise, and with a human by her side, the impossible might just be possible. The first steps of their journey were small, tentative, yet full of promise. Aurelia's future and Alara's own would be shaped by the courage they would show together. And in the quiet of the floating city, a new story began to whisper, a story of humans, hope, and the power of never giving up.